broken roads, desert dust bowl sun, where the billman will call you almost every week. Which bills to pay today and what's left in the fridge to eat. Where stars frame the night.
Polar bear. Money from buying this goes to help polar bears. How cool is that? Anyway, to get this axle out, I've already removed the metal bolt, as you recall, and you can see how often this thing's getting driven. Anyway, still lots of meat on the pads, so we're just gonna undo this sway bar nut up here and get the link out of the way, and then 3 ball joint bolts underneath, pull this out, and hopefully the axle will come out. That's my theory. So this one, I believe, is it's bigger than that. So these underneath are 16 millimeter. That one might be a 19. At least we have an impact socket for that one. 18. 18 it is. Of course that happened. Just spinning on the nut. We knew that would happen. We'll get an Allen key after. There's three nuts under here, 16 millimeters, and then hopefully we can pull this away enough to get room. I wanted to remove the sway bar, but I'm not having any luck with that. I can't get anything to fit in the end of the stud here to stop it from turning when I undo the nut, so we'll leave that for now. We'll see if we can succeed without that. 1, 2, 3. Sway bar is keeping it from moving away enough. All right. Well, a lot of messing around, and I still can't get that sway bar link undone, but the axle did come out. So hopefully, I think it's just gonna come apart there unless I get underneath and pry it out. Oh. Bit hot for our Canadian sensibilities right now here in Alberta. It's like 33 degrees Celsius today, which is too hot for me. But didn't stop some more parts showing up for the Tiguan. A few other things too, actually. Got these for the tailgate on the Maverick. And a couple of axle removal tools. The other one's over there, more like a pickle fork style. I haven't tried much to use them to get that axle out. It's still fighting me, but just haven't been out here much. So let's make sure that Rock Auto sent us the good stuff. Came in really fast. Alright, so we've got axle bolt, intake manifold gasket, and a CV axle, and a pretty nice looking Nova. Cool. Well, that's going on the fridge. And these I'll bring inside for Top Tech. He likes popping them. Oh no. Broke again. I've never come across an axle this stuck. This is kind of my last ditch here. If this doesn't work, well, I don't know what will. Let me get this under it. What are you supposed to get on here? Unbelievably, after days and days of ordering different tools, like that, and that, the axle is finally out. Look how rusty that thing is. That's why it was so stuck. In the end, it was that giant chisel that moved it enough to get that in behind and yank it out. So I've done my best to clean out the hole. It's still a little rusty, but the new axle is going to get anti-seize before it goes in. And finally get back to some assembly. I just put some nice sticky synthetic grease on here so we can kind of center this clip. It's going to use anti-seize, but this will be nicer for centering that. Come on, baby. Oh, yeah. There we go. Nice. Nice. All right. Take that little cap out. Good. Okay. Nice to be assembling. Whew. Yes, all right. I'll have to look up the torque spec on these ball joint nuts. But for now, and a new sway bar link to replace the one I had cut out.
$2,000 years later.
All right. Fit a nice new sway bar link to replace the one I cut up. I'm gonna go try and find some torque specs. Well, there's our ball joint nuts, and they're M10, and the spec on those is 75 pound-feet, which is too much. I think I'm going to do M10 spec for 10.9 bolt, which is about 60, and that should, I mean, that's not going anywhere, let's face it. As far as the sway bar nuts, they're about 15 pound-feet and then a quarter turn. So whatever that works out to be. This is kind of where the rubber really hits the road. The axle bolt, they come in two flavors. One is ribbed underneath here, and that one's not bad. It's 70 Newton meters, so that's, you know, 55 pound-feet plus 90 degrees. But this one is smooth, which means it's 200 Newton meters, so roughly 150 pound-feet plus 180 degrees. So that's a lot. It's got thread locker on it already. I'm just going to put it in kind of for now, and I don't think I'll be able to actually torque this until it's back like on the ground and whatnot. But at least we get it started and we can kind of go from there. Uh-oh. That's what I get for using chrome sockets. Should have spray painted it black first. You gotta do what you gotta do sometimes. All right, that will do for now. Can do some tidying. What a disaster. So there we go. There's the water pump in place, new gaskets, etc. These 5 bolts, there's one down there, one there, 3, 4, 5, are torqued to about 80 inch-pounds. And then I've put the cover on here. It's just got a bolt there and a bolt there. These are all T30. The kit did come with new O-rings for the temp sensor and also for this coolant pipe that goes to the back of the head. So that's got a new O-ring on there. I'm going to install that next. Well, there's that bit of pipe in place, clipped on there. I stand corrected. The O-ring in the kit is much too fat to fit in here. So I used the old O-ring. It's still in good shape. I did put this bracket in down there. It's an M8 like triple square, but you can get away with using like an M8, you know, just an Allen key if you're gentle. I think I've got it lined up pretty much with where the little stud goes, and did up the clamps here on both ends. So I don't know, whatever's next, I'm just gonna keep plugging away in this heat. Actually, first I'm gonna go make supper, then I'm gonna come back to this. Well, the next thing I did, I slid underneath and connected up. The upper rad hose goes to the front of the water pump, and the lower rad hose goes to the back right here. And with new O-rings up inside, so up here at the top, you can't really, I wish I could show you, but there's basically a plastic fitting with a clip that goes on to each outlet. And then basically there's a wire clip, and you pull it out to remove the hose just with a screwdriver. It's up on the back here. Up there, pull it out, and then once it's back on, you just pop it back in, and that secures it. And then I've got the adapter in place for this temp sensor, and clamps are in place. And then I've also refit the secondary water pump. I guess it's probably for the HVAC system, I'm guessing. Connector's done up there, and clamps are back on. So the only thing really I think left down here is the charge air cooler pipe, and then we'll go up top and start fitting the intake manifold and all that crazy stuff. Well, I changed my mind. Instead of doing the intercooler pipe, which ultimately joins to this, I decided to put the intake manifold on first. So got a new gasket here. These two injectors actually came off and stayed in the head, so popped them back into place. Ooh, let's connect that up. That would be bad. All right, so all the wiring's now connected, and that's all cleaned up, ready to go. So we've got two 10mm nuts to go there, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 T30 bolts, and then that's back into place, plus the nut here on that guy, which I'm kind of maybe regretting putting on now. We might have to loosen that off. I guess we'll see. Yeah, and then we'll kind of take it from there, I suppose. Figure out where all this wiring wants to live and everything else. I think this comes kind of up. No, it does go down there somewhere. I think we fished that through after. All right, let's carry on. To get that 10mm nut in there, there's so much stuff around in the way. I had to do the paper towel trick. You know, you take a bit of paper or paper towel or whatever, put it over the nut before you put it on the socket, and then it holds it in place. So there we go. That's in place down there. And I couldn't find anything. So there it is. I couldn't find anything in the way of a torque spec for these bolts other than a kind of random forum that said 9 Newton meters, which is, you know, same as the water pump. So what is that, about 80 inch-pounds, which sounds pretty good to me. It's plastic going into the same part, so let's go with 80 and kind of start at the center and work your way outwards to either end kind of pattern. And I mean, that should be good enough. So that's next on the agenda. All right. As an aside, it's about 80 degrees here in the shop right now, which to some of you folks is probably a walk in the park, but it's really humid and no airflow. So for a Canuck like me, this is kind of, it's nasty. I am sweating absolute buckets. So I haven't filmed a lot, I guess. But one thing I did do differently, actually, from what you saw before was, geez, I'm already over on the torque. The intake manifold gasket had little kind of tabs on it, and those fit into pins that were on the ends of the intake manifold plates there. And that's to locate the gasket, because as soon as I flip this thing over, well, see, these just don't feel tight to me. As soon as I flipped it over, well, the gasket fell out, of course. So I took it off and I put it onto the block itself, and then carefully lowered the intake manifold over top of it. So from here, there's a whole bunch of electrical connections to make. One down here that I wasn't looking forward to. Get that done right away. Yeah, good. Good. These little coolant lines need to be secured to the manifold. There's just a screw underneath and a screw there. Again, good old T30s. And then so I think this is the guy that goes there. The only one that's going to go there, in fact. So we're going to run that up here. I'm just going to have to go back through the video too, and just make sure everything's getting back where it needs to go. It's been a little while since I was working on this, so it's problematic, but yeah, we'll figure out where everything goes. I wasn't sure I'd ever be able to say that this thing is now officially assembled. Haven't put the under tray on yet. I want to, fill it with coolant and see if it runs and or leaks before I do anything crazy like that. But there we go. Apologies as well. It's not the world's greatest how-to. It's more just my struggles, I guess, with something that I wasn't really familiar with. There are lots and lots of really great how-to videos out there on this job, because it's kind of a common thing. So I do recommend checking them out. I'm going to post the link to the one that I referenced down in the bottom there from Ucanic. It's a very well made how-to video. I just didn't really want to get into that. I'm on the clock here, and it's hot. It's too hot for this Canuck here. So just got to get it done and get it back to my customer. And, I got my own life stuff to get done too. So that's good enough for tonight. Tomorrow we'll fill it up with coolant, fire it up, put that other wheel on, get it on the ground, torque that axle bolt, and then it can go back. All right, I haven't been looking forward to this. I also haven't torqued the wheel yet, but okay, that's 200 Newton meters. I'm gonna get a paint marker here. Oh, here we go. Good times ahead. At least with a 12 point, it's fairly easy. When this point lines up with this, we're good. When I do this, I'm not wrapping my hands around this or putting myself in any position where if I slip, if that slips off, I'm bashing my knuckles into the ground or crashing my knees or anything. Open hand. I'll probably still eat fender, but because this is, well, we're getting there. Oh, almost there. Oh, hey, just a little more. Yeah. All right, that wasn't as bad as I feared. It's mighty tight though. Gotta torque those up to some spec. I don't know what. Well, our little patient has pulled through. It has survived the procedure. I'm not going to say that it's without its issues. I mean, obviously, we got the donut spare on there. It's got a headlight issue. It's got a wiper issue. It's something noisy in the right front brakes there. I think the caliper's not, it's maybe hanging up a little bit. It does come back, but it takes a bit. But, I'm at this point probably taking a sabbatical from customer work, to be quite honest. Just there's too much other stuff going on in my life. I'll still, look after some of this crazy old small engine stuff. The channel's not going anywhere, but just the customer repair I'm going to have to step back from a little bit. And, that's life. But at least we've brought this thing back from, it was undrivable with the way that axle was snapping away and, coolant pouring out almost as fast as you pour it in. You couldn't get it anywhere. You basically had to almost tow it anywhere. So we've brought it back to where it's probably worth fixing those other small issues now, where before, if we hadn't taken care of that, it possibly wouldn't have been. So overall, we accomplished what we set out to do. It wasn't particularly easy at times, but it's done, and that's pretty satisfying. And I learned that I don't particularly love working on Volkswagens. So anyway, till next time, keep it in the litter box. Cheers.